Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. Will you all please rise? Superior Court of Cobb County is now in session. The Honorable Adele Grubb presiding. I was going to name all of them, but I bet it's not.
Take a seat, if you will, please. This is a wonderful day. Welcome you all here, and we're overflowing in with people who want to be here for you. This is a great day for you. This is a day that you waited on. You probably thought never would come, but it's here, and you're about to be here. And the seat you are about to take belonged initially to Judge Watson White, who we will honor at his funeral. He was the very first judge in this one. And then he was followed by Judge Bartlett, who's half the man he used to be. I'd like to say that till Friday when we do his retirement. But two men of the highest integrity, the highest honesty, the levelest playing field. So you have big shoes to follow. But I know that we can do it. One of the keys to being a judge is to keep your humility. They'll pump you up and tell you all one kind of wonderful lies about yourself. And you might get to believing them if you're really bad. So you need a crew that keeps you humble. And the number one is your husband. And I remember a story Justice Hines used to say that his wife would say to him, Harris, you may be the Supreme Court Justice, but you do have to take out the trash. So just remember that as you go here. I know you will do well. Welcome. Welcome to our bench. We're very proud. With that, I'll turn it over to Judge Schuster.
I want to thank you for letting me do the invocation. And I've got some words that are not only for you, but really for all of us who are judges and public servants. I didn't give you a copy in advance on purpose. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing all of us here today. Your word says, blessed are they who maintain justice, who constantly do what is right. Let us thank you, Lord, for the privilege of public service, for the honor of our constituents entrusting us with this task. In Zechariah, the Lord said, administer true justice, show mercy and compassion to one another. In Micah, your word tells us to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly. May we not just hear these words, but ask that you empower us to fulfill this requirement every day. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Judge Schuster. The room is full of all kinds of people, and it's a real honor to you. And I'm going to try and take it in some order of priority, but please don't hold it against me if I get you all wrong, okay? I may mess up, but I'm going to start with your fellow judges on the bench. We have, they're not in order of seniority. Judge Leonard, Judge Green, Judge Staley, Judge Bartlett, Judge Poole, Judge Schuster, Judge Flournoy, Judge Ingram, Judge Carroll. Senior judges, Judge Stoddard, Judge Ingram, Judge Franklin, and we'll worry about Judge Creedon. And then administrator, Tom Sheriff. But we have other, and you expect them to be here. I mean, come on, we're supposed to be here. But we have this whole other side, of course people are here, okay? And just Backwell, where did you hide? Justice Backwell of the Supreme Court is here to see you today. We have legislators, Reeves, Rick Nolan. We have County Commissioner Joanne Barrow. There. Bob Weatherford and Bob We have, of course, the DA Vic Reynolds, and we have DA Dick Donovan from Hardin County. Okay? And then we have assorted former ADAs over there you recognize who will be here. And we have Pat here. We have from the state court, see if I can get it for you. Unglow, Judge Rogers, Judge Govick, Judge Lake, Judge Campbell, Judge Thompson, that one, and from juvenile court, Judge Elsie, Judge Stegman, Judge Whitfield, and Judge Hamden. Also somewhere in our midst somewhere, we have Chief of Police Denard from the city of Atworth. There he is, he's hiding out over there. We have our solicitor, Barry Morgan, here. And back there in the whole row, you have your Smyrna Optimist. Would you Smyrna Optimist please stand? I've never seen a crowd that shows up. There's two over there. And then we have Ms. Deanne Bonner from the NAACP. Stand, Ms. Deanne? Just stand. Okay, that counts as standing. And if I miss somebody who thinks they're important, could you let me know? We're all important because we do justice and everybody's equal before the courts. Everybody's equal. Doesn't matter where you are in society, we are there. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you. Now call on. Introduce your name. Oh, you got a list too.
I just wanted to let y'all know who's been special to me all through the years. I mean, they're special even though they are family. They would be special no matter what. First, my brother Tom and his wife Molly, and their two wonderful boys, Sam and Josh, who live in Roswell. They were so helpful this year during the campaign. They got a bird's eye view of grassroots campaigning. Thank y'all for being here. My mother-in-law, Ethel Harris, is here, my husband's mother, and for almost 30 years now, she has defined what it means to be a model mother-in-law. Thank you for being here. My sister-in-law, Rebecca Harris, also from Montgomery, and my niece, Eva Lewis, all the way from Tuscaloosa, sadly for an Auburn fan. They were physically absent during the campaign, but they were present with me spiritually, and their prayers were huge. My dad is here. There's my dad, Jimmy Bethune. He raised me and he loved me and always said I was just like him. Sometimes that was a compliment, sometimes it wasn't. And thank you for being here, Dad. And Mike and Kitty Metzger, who are my brothers-in-laws, who showed up at me in campaign events and have always been a special part of my family. Thank y'all for being here. And then, of course, my husband Jim is here, and I'll tell y'all a little bit more about him a little bit later because I wouldn't be here without him. So anyway, thank y'all all for being here.
Big rounds to make a few words.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Happy holidays. First thing I want to say about Ann is her degree of loyalty. This past summer, in the middle of a very contested campaign, I was getting the living stew kicked out of me by the press on a certain case, and I went up to Ann and I said, Ann, if it will help you, I will withdraw my support. She actually thought for just a moment. And said, no, we've been in it together. So today is a very important day, and it's a day that I stand honored and humbled to speak at this swearing in. And I promise you I will be brief. Let me tell you from the very beginning, without any hesitation, categorically and equivocally, Ann Harris is going to be a good Superior Court judge. I'm very, very confident of that fact. We're going to miss her at the DA's office. Ann's dedication to justice, to crime victims, to doing what is right, has set a very high standard in our office. She will not be easily replaced. But our loss will be more than set off as a gain, not only for this county, but for this entire court system when she joins this bench. For those of you who don't happen to know Ann Harris as well as we do in the DA's office, let me very briefly explain to you why she will be a good judge. First and foremost, her work ethic. I tell you again, without any hesitation, you will not outwork Ann Harris. For the attorneys who are going to appear in front of her, be prepared, because she will be. The second reason she's going to be a good judge is she is fair. Serving justice and doing what is right means something to Ann Harris. It will be the same in criminal cases, in civil cases, or in domestic cases. I'm confident that she will do what is right. Ann is a quick study. She's smart enough to know what she doesn't know. And she's smart enough to learn what she doesn't know. Ann will follow the law. She realizes what a judge's role is in our system. Ann will not create law. She won't place her opinion above the law. And Ann will know the law. Again, for the attorneys who practice in front of her, be prepared, because she will be. And lastly, Ann is compassionate when appropriate. But let me tell you again, without hesitation, she is tough when necessary. She believes in accountability. She believes in responsibility. But she also believes in second chances when they're deserved. Ann Harris will be a good Superior Court judge. We will miss her at the DA's office, but collectively as an office, we're very proud to take this moment today to congratulate her. Godspeed, Your Honor. I've heard about the Smyrna Optimist Club from one of your members back there, and it's a pleasure to see y'all here. Heard a lot about you over the years. I'm Steve Cook. It's a real honor for me to come speak today about Ann. I'm a member of the Criminal Defense Bar here in Cobb County, and I've been practicing here for about 24 years. And when I was asked to come and speak about Ann, you know, I thought I can do this because I have to say nice things about people all the time. It has been suggested by some that no matter who it is, every single person I represent in court, I claim to know personally. They've either done yard work or painted my house. I know everybody. Well, Ann has never done yard work. She's never painted my house. But I want to tell you that I love her dearly as a friend. Over the years, we've handled a lot of cases together. We're pretty close in age, so our careers have been together for a long time. And thing that struck me pretty early on in her career was that, sure, she prosecuted her share of tough customers in court. They get some of those. But there are plenty of people that lawyers like me represent that are really pretty good people that have made mistakes, that they have some alcohol or drug problem. And I will tell you that what Vic Reynolds talked about justice, even as an advocate for the state, Ann Harris always kept that in her mind when she was dealing with a young person like that, or a family person that had never been in trouble before. she really embraced the concept of justice, and she would pull a family out in court that's just terrified that their student was possibly going to jail, and talk to them and encourage the young person. And that made a big impression on me. And I think she's going to be that kind of judge. And it's a good thing too, because she's got big shoes to fill. Jim Botiford, who I've admired forever for the same kind of fairness and passion that he carried. Jim Botiford, he took being a judge very seriously. Ann Harris will take being a judge very seriously. And this passion and work ethic that Vic Reynolds talked about, boy, that's a given. She will be a terrific judge. She really will. And Jim, I admired how y'all worked together these last few months, and I know that this is a proud moment for both of you. And that's what I just wanted to say. Ann, welcome to the Superior Court bench, and Judge Harris, it'll be my pleasure and honor to practice before you for many, 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 many years to come. Congratulations.
In 1891, a gentleman named George H. Petrie graduated from Johns Hopkins with a PhD in history. He moved south to what was then, and I didn't have to read this, the Agricultural and Mechanical College of Alabama, which also happens to now be known as Auburn University. When he moved south, he came to teach a different way of studying history, refining history, looking at original source material, and all of those kinds of things. He gave a lot to the academic communities in the Southeast. What he's most commonly known for around here in this time of year is he also put together the first Auburn-Georgia football game at Piedmont Park. However, in 1943, shortly after his retirement, shortly after the loss of his wife, he sat down and put pen to paper and wrote what has become known as the Auburn Creed. Ann came to me last week and asked me if I would come before you today and read that. And she said something to me while we were discussing it that I think says more about Ann's character than anything I could say after all the years we've worked together. She said, these are pretty good values to aspire to, especially for a judge. I believe that this is a practical world. I count only on what I earn. Therefore, I believe in work, hard work. I believe in education, which gives me the knowledge to work wisely and trains my mind and my hands to work skillfully. I believe in honesty and truthfulness, without which I cannot win the respect and confidence of my fellow men. I believe in a sound mind and a sound body and a spirit that is not afraid, and in clean sports that develop these qualities. I believe in obedience to the law because it protects the rights of all. I believe in the human touch, which cultivates sympathy with my fellow men and mutual helpfulness and brings happiness for all. I believe in my country because it is a land of freedom and because it is my own home, and that I can best serve that country by doing justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with my God. And because Auburn men and women believe in these things, I believe in Auburn and love it. George H. Petrie, November 12, 1943. Congratulations, Your Honor.
And the moment is almost upon us. She's acting. Judge, senior judge, George Creighton, a smart optimist, and used to be assigned in his corner, will come and do the proceedings.
Ann gave me a liberty to say a few words with the understanding that she gets the last word, which I'm afraid of. But I want to tell you what an honor and pleasure it is to be part of this ceremony today. About 20 years ago, our district attorney, Tom Sharon, decided that each courtroom would have 1.5 prosecutors. I already had Don Phillips as the courtroom prosecutor, and he went on a scouting trip and brought back our half prosecutor. She also had, Judge Mark Ingram had the other half, but one half was like a full-time prosecutor. And I've often said that she's such a hard worker, if everybody worked like Ann did, you'd probably cut your staff in half. One thing that she will do is, Judge Barbara has this reputation that you must be on time. That is not going to change in her courtroom, I can assure you. Probably one of the meanest things I ever did to a lawyer in the courtroom is that first thing she did when she came into the courtroom was cut her eyes at the clock. So we're sitting in the courtroom one morning, and I told her, go back there and run that clock up about 45 minutes. She nearly fell into the floor. You know, a judge can make it not knowing the law, but the judge can't make it if they don't have common sense. In Ann, there's a combination of knowing the law and common sense. That's going to make her an outstanding judge. Is Tim going to hold something to you?
Oh, he is.
Okay. We'll take care of it. One of us. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ann B. Harris,
I, Ann B. Harris,
a citizen of Cobb County, Georgia, USA,
a citizen of Cobb County, Georgia, USA,
and being an employee of the Superior Court of Cobb County
and being an employee of the Superior Court of Cobb County,
and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee,
and the recipient of public funds rendered for
as
such
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of Georgia.
and the Constitution of Georgia.
I do further swear
I do further swear
that I will administer justice
that I will administer justice
without respect to person
without respect to person
and do equal rights to the poor and the rich,
and do equal rights to the poor and the rich.
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
And I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
as a judge of the Superior Court of this state,
as a judge of the Superior Court of this state,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding and agreeably
and understanding and agreeably
to the laws and the Constitution of this state
to the laws and the Constitution of this state
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the United States.
I do further solemnly swear and affirm
I do further solemnly swear and affirm
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted public money due this state,
that I am not the holder of any public money due this state, unaccountably of any public money due this state,
or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States,
I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States,
nor either of the several states,
nor either of the several states,
nor any foreign state,
nor any foreign state,
and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office
and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office
according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia,
according to the Constitution and the laws of
and
Georgia,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and that I have been a resident of this circuit for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state.
and that I have been a resident of this circuit for the time required by the laws and the Constitution of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Got one more. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. This is short. I, I, Andy Harris,
I, Andy Harris,
a citizen of Cobb County, Georgia, USA,
citizen of Cobb County, Georgia, USA,
and being an employee of the Superior Court of Cobb County,
and being an employee of the Superior Court of Cobb County,
and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee,
and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee,
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of Georgia.
and the Constitution of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So now,
I think going forward, this is one of the few times I get to say anything and not be scared I'm going to get reversed. Thank you all for being here. I'm really overwhelmed to see so many of you, and I'm grateful and I'm honored by your presence. I really don't want this to turn into an Academy Award speech where somebody says, cue the music, but there are some people I really do need to thank right quickly. I alluded earlier to a grassroots campaign. Anybody who's been through it knows that it's a tremendous effort. I just have to give the nod to, and I apologize, I am not going to remember everybody because I'm nervous and time is short, but Dave, Doug, John, Jason, y'all know how hard you worked for me. Festivals, fundraisers, forums, Ashley, Molly, Jana, Jessica, community outreach, Missy Cook, Chuck Burge. Thank you all. Your generosity with your time and your efforts was huge, and I thank you. I need to take a minute to give a special thank you to the lawyers that supported me early on when, they supported me, some of them in obvious ways, some of them in not so obvious ways. Let me just tell you, I was so honored by your support, and I was very humbled by your confidence in me that I could do the job well and serve the folks of this county. And I thank you. My years as prosecutor were very special. That was 20 years. I had so many mentors along the way, and several of them are here today, and that means more than I can possibly express. From my beginnings with Tom Sharon, and I got to tell y'all one quick story. The first time I lost in court, and the next morning it was 7:30 in the morning, and I was dejected, and I was being hard on myself, and how could I have done such a poor job? And the first person to stick his head in my doorway was Tom Sharon, who said, "Well, I heard you didn't have a real good jury." Which of course was not the truth at all, but it was what a dejected prosecutor needed to hear at 7:30 in the morning to saddle up and go again. And then, of course, the bulk of my career was spent with Pat Head, who taught all of us so much about accountability to your victims and to your defense attorneys, and accountability for how you handle your cases. And Pat and Tom, I thank you both. And to Vic, who encouraged me early on, I'm sorry I only had 2 years to spend with you. Vic, I can't tell you how many people I told when they heard that you were running for DA, and they're like, "Oh no, it's a defense attorney who's gonna be our DA." And I was like, Vic is gonna be fine. He has got a prosecutor's heart. He is a great but I said he is a great lawyer, and he will do great things for this office. And you have, and I know you will continue. And you supported me early on and wholeheartedly, and that made a world of difference to me and to the voters of this county. I would be remiss if I did not recognize my colleagues on the campaign trail. I know Judge Stebbin is here. I hope Nathan is here. Nathan Wade, I may have missed him. They were worthy adversaries on the campaign trail, and y'all, they defined what it means to run a hard-fought but honorable race, and I can only thank them for that, and they remain my esteemed colleagues to this day and will going forward. In addition to the other members of my family that I recognized earlier for what I can only describe as unfailing hard work and encouragement, I have to thank somebody who is not here, Those of you who have known me over the years and know me well enough have heard me speak of my mom, Margaret Ann Bethune. She passed away several years ago after a long and ugly bout with Alzheimer's. My mom went to college. She went to Auburn, of course, when many women did not go to college. And then she got out of college and within a couple of years made the decision to stay home and raise my brother and I. And I remember back in the days when we had typewriters, there was no word processor, there was no computer. How many times she went with me down to my dad's office in the middle of the night and sat there while I typed a term paper that, of course, like a lawyer to be, I had procrastinated and not done in time. I know she is in heaven, and I know she is proud of me. I wish she was here. She was wonderful. And I can tell you, if she had any advice, and y'all will recognize it, those who've known me for many years, if she had any advice, it would be two things. She would say, don't get too big for your britches, and she would say, watch that smart mouth of yours. Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think that's all, both of those things are good advice for a judge. And without her, I don't think I would be here. But there's one other person, and without him, I would absolutely not be here. To quote Sam Lingan, where are you, Sam? Hopefully you're here. To quote Sam Lingan, there's a special place in heaven for Jimmy Harris. So not even quite a year ago, Jim and I went to Pasadena early last January, of course, watch Auburn get beat by FSU. And then we come back home, and about 10 days later, after the Boots and Blue Jeans domestic violence fundraiser, about 2 or 3 days after that, I looked at Jim and I said, so, Judge Boddiford's really going to retire? And he looked at me like, yes. And we talked about it and we prayed about it, and he said only two things. He said, well, first he said, couldn't we have decided this before we spent money going to Pasadena? But then he said, if we're going to do this, let's go all in. Let's not wake up on May the 21st and say, I wish we'd done X, or I wish we had done Y. And that's what he did month after month until July 22nd. He gave time, money, encouragement. He worked tirelessly. I mean, he was up till midnight eating cold dinners, and he was out at dark 30 working on signs. When I said, I don't think I can do this, somehow he was the one who said, yeah, you can, and I'll take care of it. You know, he's actually probably a better campaigner than I would go to events sometimes and people would say, where's Jim? I just, you know, I'm not usually a corny person or a rank sentimentalist, but I do believe love is words in action, and he defined that for the last 7 months, just like he has for the last 30 years almost. And I can't thank him enough, and I can certainly never repay him, but I have to tell y'all, again, I'm not trying to be corny, but he's the wind beneath my wings. Last week, you know, it's funny, last week I was briefly in Judge Flournoy's courtroom before a counter call, and it was a very bittersweet moment for me, because all the lawyers were there. It was a criminal counter, and I hadn't had any responsibilities in the DA's office to speak of in a couple of months now, but all the lawyers were in there, and I was talking with them and joking around before the calendar was called, and then it kind of washed over me that that's the last time I'm going to do that. And that's the last time I'm going to be an advocate, and I will miss that. And, you know, from day one as a prosecutor, I always felt like, oh, I wear the white hat, and it's been such a wonderful career. But over the years, I've realized that all of us lawyers wear the white hat, because we're all trying to do the best thing. We're all seeking justice. We're trying to do the best things for our clients. We're trying to honor the Constitution. We're trying to honor these notions of justice and fairness and the rule of law that I think are unique to our country. And all of us us lawyers wear the white hat, and I will miss being an advocate, but I am so looking forward to taking the bench. I approached with trepidation the idea of filling Judge Botifer's shoes because he has presided fairly and well over cases large and small for so many years. I can't imagine the Superior Court without him. He's taken on notorious cases and then seen those through to a conclusion and just done a wonderful job. But of course, I'm also ever mindful, particularly given Judge White's passing Saturday morning, that I have even larger shoes to fill. By the time I came to Cobb County as a lawyer, Judge White had taken senior status just a year or so earlier, but he was a judge of tremendous integrity and forthrightness, and he and his colleagues laid, for those of you who don't know, he and his colleagues laid the foundation for the bench that we enjoy here in Cobb County today. And the importance and the significance of that can't be overstated. It's a bench marked by integrity and fairness and courtesy, and I am honored to be joining you all. The last thing I would like to say is I did work very hard to meet and connect with the voters, because Superior Court really is the people's court. I mean, it's meeting people where they are, criminal, domestic, whatever. And I worked very hard to try to earn their trust to do this job right and fairly. I know a lot of people voted for me that didn't know me from Adam's house cat, and that's a very humbling thing because they're trusting me, not knowing me. That doesn't make me proud, that makes me humble. And frankly, I'll tell you, I know there's a lot of voters out there that probably voted for me because my name was at the top of the ballot. And you know what? That's also very humbling, and those things motivate me to want to do the job well. I pledge to you, the lawyers, the non-lawyers, the voters, the folks who are here, folks who aren't, folks who don't know me, and hopefully will never know me as a judge, that I will work hard to make good on the trust y'all have placed in me to serve the people of this county by doing justly and loving mercy and walking humbly with my God. Thank you.
And we all are very proud of you. You know that. And we've heard a lot about that politics thing. That you started it out of Micah, was expected a man to do justice, love mercy, and will come later. And we talked about Judge White, we talked about Judge White. And tomorrow, you can approve Judge White more. Okay? Let me tell you a story in closing that has a good point. He used to tell you, don't get full of yourself, because you're a judge. He said, when a judge dog dies, everybody comes. When the judge dies, nobody comes. And we will prove him wrong tomorrow, and I know we will. But that was the way he looked at it, and he faced it, and he kept himself humble and straight and full of integrity. And I know you do the same. And I'm very proud of you. All these people who want to greet you and hug you and tell you you're wonderful, because I do. And ladies and gentlemen, we're in recess. If you'll go down to the jury assembly room, there is a reception, and you can talk to Andrew. Thank you all for coming.